Hey everybody, it's Alex at Motoroso.com. In this video, let's take a close-up look at the new Eibach Pro-Truck Coilover lift kit for the new Ford Bronco. Now this represents a very high-value coilover lift kit that at the time of making this video comes in under $2,000. If you've been looking at suspension upgrades and you're getting sticker shock looking at FabTech, King, and Fox shocks, this might be just what the doctor ordered. Now as usual, we're going to put a link to this right here and links in the description of all the products that we talk about. And those links are going to take you over to Motoroso.com where you can shop for these and many other products. You can reach us there on live chat and you can call us toll-free anytime at 833-MOTOROSO. These shocks might also be a good option for anybody that's sick and tired of waiting for their Fox or their King shocks, which we've been waiting over 8 months for already. We've got Fox shocks on order, billet control arms just waiting to go in, but we think this is going to be a great stopgap. This is an inexpensive but improved solution over stock that'll get you 4 inches of ride height and allow you to fit those 37-inch tires. So these bad boys are going in on our Bronco. Subscribe to our channel so you can check out the installation guide and our review of these after we've installed them, as well as later on when we get our Fox and our billet control arms, you're going to want to learn about that stuff as well. And I'm ready to be pleasantly surprised by these things because Eibach is a serious suspension company. They've been around 71 years and suspension is all they do. Now they're primarily known for their springs, but about 15 years ago they started working on actual full coilover kits, and a lot of that includes truck and SUV segments. So these things have got the attention to detail and the engineering and R&D to be a great product, especially at the price they come in at. All right, now let's talk about these shocks specifically. First of all, these are fully ride height adjustable. These are going to lift your Bronco. Now, it depends where you're starting. If you have a non-Sasquatch or a Sasquatch, you're going to get different levels of ride height increases. And it does vary a little bit by trim levels as well. And they've got a really cool chart that's going to help you know exactly which trim level you have and what you're going to get. But to boil it down, essentially at its basics, if you've got a non-Sasquatch, non-Bilstein OEM shock, then you're going to get somewhere between 1.5 and 4 inches of ride height adjustability. And if you've got a Sasquatch that has the Bilstein shocks, the yellow ones, that's going to get you between 0 and 3 inches of ride height adjustability. And if you'd like to look at that chart in more detail, click this link right over here. We've got that chart on the product page on our website. Now, the way that the ride height is adjusted is very simple, and you're going to use this included spanner wrench. And thank you, Eibach, for making this a pin spanner wrench and using holes on that spring perch, because if you've ever adjusted one of those collars that just has a notch and you're using a spanner wrench that just tries to hook onto that notch, it sucks and you always do damage. This is going to make it really, really nice to get a good solid grip on that spring perch and crank it up without creating marks on your shock. And the way this simply works is you thread this collar up the shock body, it increases the spring preload, pushes the weight of the Bronco up, and you've got ride height. And that means you can adjust exactly where you want it. You don't just have to crank it to 1, 2, 3, or 4 inches. You can put it anywhere in between that you want it to get the exact look that you're going for. Pretty much for most people, once you get that set, you're not going to play with it, but you can change it anytime you want. Now, these shocks are also going to grant you a little bit of extra wheel travel, but not as much as you're going to get from a remote reservoir shock like the FabTech that we covered, or the Fox or the Kings. This is not the intention of this shock. It's improved ride quality, better off-road performance, but it's going to maintain the stock upper control arm. So what they did is they're going to give you about 1 inch of additional wheel travel, which is who knows how much in the shock itself. But what they've done is tested this to the droop level that's going to allow the upper control arm to stay within the stock factory settings. Now, you may have heard us talking about lifting your Bronco in the past, and that if you're going to go over 2 inches, you really need to go to an aftermarket upper control arm. Eibach claims that that is not the case in this situation. They have designed these shocks to simply bolt in, go up to 4 inches taller than stock, and be able to not exceed the stock limits of the upper control arm. Okay, so now I'm going to say, in addition to that, that if you want to be on the safe side, or if you want additional strength, or if you want better alignment adjustability, getting an aftermarket upper control arm in addition to this kit is an inexpensive way of getting a little bit more performance and the ability to expand into potentially higher performance in the future. So something to consider, and you can always reach out to us if you want to talk more about that. Now they've used a 2-inch zinc-coated steel shock body, which is going to hold more oil than any of the OEM shocks. So that means it can handle longer off-road sessions without overheating and the damping just start to fall apart. And the zinc coating is finished in a way that makes it silver instead of gold. If you don't like gold under your Bronco, then this shock looks really sharp. I think it'll look really nice under there, and it matches that gray spring. Now inside you've got a 46mm piston and a single damping valve versus independent damping valves. Some of the higher end products you're going to see out there are going to have independent rebound and compression damping valves inside, as well as adjustability in some of the very, very high-end options. That is not the case here, but they've tuned this with the spring and the shock to get the results of better handling on and off-road, and you're just going to bolt them up and run them the way that Eibach designed them. Another premium feature that Eibach has built into this shock that's really noteworthy is that the piston rod's made from cold hardened steel and it's coated with a nitride coating. Now, traditionally, piston rods are coated with a chrome finish that can actually chip and become damaged, and that'll create sharp edges that can tear up the seal inside the shock, and over time, after many miles, start to leak. In this case, that nitride coating is extremely strong, will not chip, and will preserve the health of that seal over the duration of the life of the shock. That's a really nice feature you usually don't find on higher end products. They've also thrown in a bump stop, so if you do bottom out, it's not going to knock your teeth out. Another nice little attention to detail they've got here is that both the spring collar and the upper mounting points are made out of CNC billet machined aluminum. Then they're powder coated and laser etched with the logo. Helps keep the weight down, but it also looks really, really sharp. So that's what you get from Eibach, a big company that has the money to put into research and development. And when they're testing these things, they put them through a million cycles to make sure that they're going to last the duration of your vehicle and not break down on you, not leak, and not stop performing. So that's why they're able to give you that limited lifetime warranty, which is awesome. And just another thing that they do that I really admire as well is they actually dyno test every single one of the shocks when they come in after manufacturing, and then they'll pick the ones that are closest to each other in performance and create matched pairs for the front and matched pairs for the rear, so you know you're getting that extra couple of % of performance to match the shocks left and right. And to cap all that off, believe it or not, at this price point, Eibach makes this entire product in the United States of America. We think that matters. I bet you do too. If you'd like to buy these shocks, we're going to put a link to those right here, and there's a link in the description. Those links will take you over Motoroso.com. You can reach us there on live chat or call us toll free at 833-MOTOROSO anytime. We'd love to help you with your builds. If you'd like to learn about another cost-effective lift kit, check out the Beltec Trail Performance Lift Kit video right there. That's an interesting one to check out as well. And subscribe to our channel because we've got Fox and billet control arms coming later on whenever that stuff finally comes out. Thanks for watching.